dear learners. Welcome to today's lesson. In this session, we will learn how to describe an action that was completed before another action in the past. In terms of grammar, this is known as the pura ghotito otitkal or past perfect tense. We will, as usual, observe a conversation to understand how to talk about an action that was completed before another action in the past. The conversation is between a niece and her maternal uncle who missed her mom's, that is, her sister's birthday. We'll look at the conversation. Bhagni says, Mama, tumi jano? Gotokal mayer jonmodin chilo? Niece says, Uncle, do you know yesterday was mom's birthday? Mama says, Are heh, jani, tor maa ke phone korechilam. Kemon katlo? Uncle says, Oh yes, I know, but I called your mother. How was it? The conversation begins with the niece excitedly sharing news with her maternal uncle. She says, Mama, tumi jano, kal mayer jonmodin chilo? Meaning, Uncle, do you know yesterday was mom's birthday? The word jonmodin means birthday and kal refers to yesterday in this context. The niece sounds eager to talk about the special occasion. The uncle responds with familiarity. Are heh, jani. Tor maa ke phone korechilam. Kemon katlo? Uncle says, Oh yes, I know, but I called your mother. How was it? The phrase Are am hai jani expresses recognition and enthusiasm. He reassures his niece that he had not forgotten the occasion. The verb phone korechilam is in the past perfect tense, meaning I had called, indicating that he had already spoken to his sister. Finally, he asks, Kemon katlo, which means how did that day go? This shows his interest in knowing how the birthday celebration went and invites the niece to share more details. We'll look at the continuation of the conversation. Bhagni says, Oshadharon, আমরা মায়ের ঘুম থেকে ওঠার আগে পুরো ঘর সাজিয়ে ফেলেছিলাম. The niece says, Amazing! We had decorated the whole house before mom woke up. Mama replies, বাহ দারুণ তো কেক এনেছিলে তো? The uncle says, Wow, that's great. Did you bring a cake? The conversation continues with the niece excitedly describing the birthday preparation and the uncle showing enthusiasm. The niece says, অসাধারণ আমরা মায়ের ঘুম থেকে ওঠার আগেই পুরো ঘর সাজিয়ে ফেলেছিলাম. Which means amazing. We had decorated the whole house before mom woke up. Here, অসাধারণ means amazing or extraordinary, showing her excitement. The phrase ঘুম থেকে ওঠার আগেই means before waking up, indicating that they had completed the decoration beforehand. পুরো ঘর সাজিয়ে ফেলেছিলাম means we had decorated the whole house, where সাজিয়ে ফেলেছিলাম is in the past perfect tense, emphasizing that the decoration was completed before their mother woke up. The uncle responds with admiration. বাহ দারুণ তো কেক এনেছিলে তো? Which means, wow, that's great. Did you bring a cake? Here, bah is an expression of amazement, similar to wow. Darun to means that's wonderful. Then he asks, cake enechile to? Which means, did you bring a cake? Where enechile is also in the past perfect tense, meaning had brought. The to at the end adds a friendly conversational tone, as if confirming something expected. This part of the conversation highlights the excitement of the niece in surprising her mother and the uncle's curiosity about the birthday celebration. We'll continue with the conversation. Bhagni says, "Hey, Baba আগের দিন রাতেই কেক অর্ডার করে ফেলেছিল." Niece says, "Yes, uncle. You know, Dad had ordered the cake the night before." Mama replies, "খুব ভালো, তোমার মা খুশি হয়েছিলেন তো?" Uncle replies, "Very nice. Was your mom happy?" Bhagni says, "হ্যাঁ, মা তো অবাক হয়ে গেছিলেন." The niece says, "Yes, Mom was totally surprised." In this part of conversation, the niece shares more details about the birthday preparations, and the uncle inquires about their mother's reaction. The niece says, "হ্যাঁ, বাবা আগের দিন রাতেই কেক অর্ডার করে ফেলেছিল," which means, Dad had ordered the cake the night before. Here, আগের দিন রাতেই means the night before, emphasizing that the cake was arranged in advance. Order করে ফেলেছিল is in the past perfect tense, meaning had ordered, indicating the action was completed before the birthday morning. The ফেলেছিল adds a sense of finality, meaning the task was properly taken care of. The uncle responds positively. খুব ভালো, তোমার মা খুশি হয়েছিলেন তো? Meaning, very nice. Was your mom happy? Here, খুব ভালো means very nice, expressing approval. Then he asks, তোমার মা খুশি হয়েছিলেন তো? Which means, was your mom happy? Where খুশি হয়েছিলেন is in the past perfect tense, meaning had become happy. The though at the end makes it more conversational, as if he is confirming something he assumes to be true. The niece happily replies, "হ্যাঁ, মা তো অবাক হয়ে গেছিলেন," which means, yes, Mom was totally surprised. Here, অবাক হয়ে গেছিলেন means was totally surprised, with গিয়েছিলেন adding an emphasis on the intensity of the reaction. The though makes the sentence more natural and expressive, as if reinforcing the excitement of the moment. This part of the conversation captures the joyful surprise of the mother and the family's thoughtful planning, making the birthday celebration special. We will again continue with the conversation. Mama says, "তুমি কি কিছু বিশেষ রান্না করেছিলে?" Uncle says, "Did you cook anything special?" Bhagni replies, "হ্যাঁ মামা, আমি আর বাবা তার পছন্দের খাবার রান্না করেছিলাম." The niece replies, "Yes, uncle, Dad and I had cooked her favorite dishes." In this part of the conversation, the uncle asks about the special preparation for the birthday, and the niece shares how she and her father contributed to making the day special. The uncle asks, "তুমি কিছু বিশেষ রান্না করেছিলে?" Which means, did you cook anything special? Here, bishesh means special, and ranna korechile is in the past perfect tense, meaning had cooked. The use of past perfect suggests that he is asking whether the niece had already prepared something before the birthday celebration took place. The niece responds enthusiastically, "হ্যাঁ মামা, আমি আর বাবা তার পছন্দের খাবার রান্না করেছিলাম." Which means, yes, uncle, Dad and I had cooked her favorite dishes. আমি আর বাবা means Dad and I, showing teamwork. তার পছন্দের খাবার means her favorite dishes, where পছন্দের means favorite. রান্না করেছিলাম is in the past perfect tense, meaning had cooked, indicating the action was completed before the birthday celebrations began. This part of the conversation highlights the niece and her father's effort to make the mother's birthday special by cooking her favorite meals, showing their love and care. We will look at the conversation again. Mama says, "Ki baniyechile tomra?" Uncle says, "What did you all make?" Bhagni replies, "Amra পোলাও, কষা মাংস, খেজুর টমেটো দিয়ে চাটনি আর পাঁপড় বানিয়েছিলাম। দাদু মিষ্টি কিনে এনেছিলেন." The niece replied, "We had made পোলাও, কষা মাংস, chutney with dates and tomatoes and papad. Grandfather had brought some sweets." In this part of conversation, the uncle curiously asks about the special dishes prepared for the celebration, and the niece gives a detailed response about the menu, mentioning various delicious items. The uncle asks, "Ki baniyechile tomra?" which means, "What did you all make?" Ki means what all or which items, indicating he wants to know the full list of dishes. Baniyechile is in the past perfect tense, meaning had made, showing that the cooking was done before the celebrations began. The niece proudly describes the menu. Amra পোলাও, কষা মাংস, খেজুর টমেটো দিয়ে চাটনি আর পাঁপড় বানিয়েছিলাম। দাদু মিষ্টি কিনে এনেছিলেন, which means we had made পোলাও, কষা মাংস, chutney with dates and tomatoes and papad. Grandfather had brought sweets. Let's break down the food mentioned. Pulao, a fragrant rice dish cooked with ghee, whole spices and some nuts and raisins. It is a special dish often prepared for celebrations. Kosha mangsho, a slow-cooked, rich and spicy Bengali-style mutton or chicken curry made with onions, tomatoes and a blend of aromatic spices. The term kosha refers to slow cooking with less water, resulting in thick, flavorful gravy. Khejur tomato diye chutney, which means chutney with dates and tomatoes, which is a sweet and tangy chutney made by shimmering dates and tomatoes with sugar and spices. This is a common side dish in Bengali feasts. Papad, a thin crispy wafers made from lentil or rice flour, usually deep fried or roasted, served as a crunchy accompaniment. Next is mishti, Bengali sweets like rasgulla, sandesh or gulab jamun, which Dadu had brought to complete the celebratory meal. This exchange highlights the traditional and festive nature of Bengali birthday celebrations, where a variety of special dishes are prepared and enjoyed with family. Mama says, "Darun, আমি যদি জানতাম তাহলে আগেই আসতাম." Uncle says, "That's wonderful. If I had known earlier, I would have come sooner." Bhagni replies, "Na na, ঠিক আছে." Niece replies, No, it's okay." In the final part of the conversation, the uncle expresses his excitement and slight regret for not being able to join in the birthday celebration. He enthusiastically responds, "Ami jodi jantam, tahole agei astam," which means if I had known earlier, I would have come sooner. Here, the phrase "Ami jodi jantam," which means if I had known, conveys his regret that he was unaware of the grand celebration. The word tahole means then or in that case in English. The word age, which means earlier or beforehand, emphasizes that he wishes he had known in advance. While ashtam, which means would have come, expresses that he genuinely wanted to be there. His words reflect his affection for his sister and his desire to be part of the joyous celebrations. The niece, however, reassures him by saying, "Na na, thik ache," which means no, it's okay. The repetition "na na" softens the statement and makes it sound more affectionate, ensuring her uncle should not feel guilty for missing the event. The phrase "thik ache," which means it's okay or it's fine, conveys understanding and acceptance, showing that she appreciates his concern but does not want him to worry about it. This part of the conversation highlights the warmth and close bond shared between the family members. The uncle's response shows his care and regret, while the niece's reactions reassures him that everything was fine. It beautifully captures how family members express love, understanding, and appreciation in every interaction. Let's go through another set of conversation using the same verb forms. Here, Ria says, "তুই কাল পড়াশোনা করেছিলি তো?" Ria says, "Did you study yesterday?" Mita replies, "হ্যাঁ দিদি, আমি সব পড়াগুলো শেষ করেছিলাম, কিন্তু কিছু অঙ্কের প্রশ্ন কঠিন লেগেছিল." Mita replies, "Yes, Didi, I finished all the lessons, but some math questions seemed difficult." Please note that the past perfect tense is used to indicate an action that was completed before another past action or time. In Bangla, করেছিল, শেষ করেছিলাম, লেগেছিল are examples of past perfect tense forms. Here, the past perfect verbs in the conversation, পড়াশোনা করেছিলি, which means had studied. Example, তুই কাল পড়াশোনা করেছিলি তো, which means did you study yesterday? Here, করেছিলি, which is a past perfect form of kora, suggests that the action of studying was completed before a reference time, which is yesterday. The next is শেষ করেছিলাম, which means had finished. For example, আমি সব পড়াগুলো শেষ করেছিলাম, which means I had finished all my lessons. Here, শেষ করেছিলাম is the past perfect form of শেষ করা, shows that the completion of studies happened before another past moment. The next is লেগেছিল, which means had seemed. Example, কিছু অঙ্কের প্রশ্ন কঠিন লেগেছিল, which means some math questions seemed difficult. Here, লেগেছিল, which is past perfect form of laga, expresses that the questions appeared difficult at a specific point in the past. Some new words that we learned here are পড়াশোনা, which means studying, শেষ, which means finished or completed, প্রশ্ন, which means questions, কঠিন means difficult. We will continue with their conversation again. Ria says, আমি তো শুধু ইতিহাস পড়েছিলাম, অঙ্ক একেবারেই দেখিনি. Ria says, I only studied history. I didn't look at math at all. Mita replies, ওহ, আমি কিছু অঙ্ক আগেই বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম, তাই সহজ লেগেছিল. Mita replies, I had understood few math problems beforehand, so they seemed easy to me. The past perfect tense is used here to indicate actions that were completed before another past action or event. In Bangla, the past perfect verb forms include পড়েছিলাম, which means had studied. For example, আমি তো শুধু ইতিহাস পড়েছিলাম, which means I had studied only history. Next, পড়েছিলাম, which is past perfect form of পড়া, indicates that Ria had completed studying history before another moment in past. Next is দেখিনি, hadn't looked at. For example, অঙ্ক একেবারেই দেখিনি, which means I hadn't looked at math at all. দেখিনি, which is past perfect negative form of দেখা, expresses that Ria never reviewed math before another past moment. Next is বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম, had understood. For example, আমি কিছু অঙ্ক আগেই বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম. I had understood few maths beforehand. বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম, which is past perfect form of বুঝে নেওয়া, shows that Mita had already understood math before the discussion. Next is লেগেছিল, which means had seemed. For example, তাই সহজ লেগেছিল, which means so they had seemed easy to me. লেগেছিল, which is past perfect form of laga, expresses that the math problems appeared easy at a specific past time. Some new words and their meanings. ইতিহাস, which means history. অঙ্ক, which means mathematics. একেবারে, which means completely or at all. বুঝে নেওয়া, which means to understand the meaning. And lastly, সহজ, which means easy. We'll look at another conversation between Ria and Mita. Ria says, ইস, আমি যদি তোর মতো আগে পড়ে রাখতাম তাহলে এত চিন্তা থাকতো না. Ria says, if I had studied in advance like you, I wouldn't have been so worried. Mita replies, কিন্তু তুমি ইতিহাস ভালো করে পড়েছিলে. Mita replies, but you studied history well. This section contains a past unreal conditional sentence, which is hypothetical situation in the past, and a past perfect verb. The past perfect tense is used to talk about the actions that had completed before a certain point in the past. Past perfect verbs in these conversations are পড়ে রাখতাম, which means had studied in advance. For example, আমি যদি তোর মতো আগে পড়ে রাখতাম তাহলে এত চিন্তা থাকতো না, which means if I had studied in advance like you, I wouldn't have been so worried. পড়ে রাখতাম, which is a past perfect conditional of পড়ে রাখা, expresses a hypothetical regret. Ria is imagining a past where she had studied earlier, which did not actually happen. পড়েছিলে, had studied. For example, কিন্তু তুমি ইতিহাস ভালো করে পড়েছিলে, which means but you had studied history well. পড়েছিলে is past perfect form of pora, shows that Mita acknowledges Ria's completed action of studying history before their conversation. Next, we will look at continuation of the conversation again. Ria says, হ্যাঁ, সেগুলো আমি ভালোভাবে বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম, তাই আত্মবিশ্বাস পাচ্ছি. Ria says, yes, I understood those properly, so I feel confident. Mita replies, দীপক স্যারকে কিছু তোমায় বলেছিলেন? Mita replies, did Deepak sir say anything to you? In this conversation, the past perfect tense is used to indicate an action that was completed before another past event. Past perfect verbs in this conversation are বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম, which means had understood. For example, হ্যাঁ, সেগুলো আমি ভালোভাবে বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম, তাই আত্মবিশ্বাস পাচ্ছি. Yes, I had understood those properly, so I feel confident. বুঝে নিয়েছিলাম, which is past perfect form of বুঝে নেওয়া, indicates that Ria completely understood the material before the present moment of speaking. The result of this past action is her current confidence. বলেছিলেন, which means had said. For example, দীপক স্যার কি তোমায় কিছু বলেছিলেন? Which means did Deepak sir say anything to you? বলেছিলেন is the past perfect form of bola is used to refer to something that Deepak sir said before this conversation took place. We have some new words here. ভালোভাবে, which means properly or thoroughly. বুঝে নেওয়া, which means to understand something completely. আত্মবিশ্বাস means confidence or self-assurance. পাচ্ছি, which means getting or receiving. পাচ্ছি is in present continuous form of power. বলেছিলেন, which means had said, which is a past perfect form of bola. We will look at the conversation again. Riya says, হ্যাঁ স্যার বলেছিলেন যে ওনার কাছে কিছু নতুন বই আছে এবং পড়ার জন্য নিতে পারি। Riya says, yes, sir said that he had some new books and that I can take them to read. Meeta replies, বাহ তাহলে তো খুব ভালো। Meeta replies, wow, that's great then. In this section, the past perfect tense is used to describe what the teacher had said earlier. The past perfect verb in these conversations are বলেছিলেন, which means had said. For example, হ্যাঁ স্যার বলেছিলেন যে ওনার কাছে কিছু নতুন বই আছে এবং পড়ার জন্য নিতে পারি, which means yes, sir had said that he has some new books that I can take them to read. বলেছিলেন is the past perfect form of bola, which means to say, indicating that the action of speaking occurred before the present conversation. We have some new words here. Notun, which means new. Boi means book. Nite pari means can take, which is a present ability. Bah, which means wow, which is an expression of admiration. Or khub bhalo, which means very good or great. Now, let's look at the table for better and brief understanding. In first person, which is Uttam Purush, singular is Ami, plural is Amra. Both take korechilam as past perfect tense. Next is second person, which is Madhyam Purush. In non-honorific, singular is Tui, plural is Tora. Both take korechili as past perfect tense. Second person, semi-honorific, singular is Tumi, plural is Tomra. Both take korechile as past perfect tense. Second person, honorific, singular is Apni, plural is Apnara. Both take korechilen in past perfect tense. Then for third person, Pratham Purush, semi-honorific singular is She and plural is Tara. Both take korechilo as their past perfect tense. And third person honorific singular is Tini and plural is Tara. Both take korechilen as past perfect tense. The table represents the past perfect tense in Bangla for different persons and numbers. The past perfect tense is used to describe an action that was completed before another action in the past. Let's try with another verb. In Bangla, first person, which is Pratham Purush, in singular means ek bochon. Ami korechilam, which means I had done. In plural, which is bohu bochon, amra korechilam, which means we had done. The verb korechilam is same for both singular and plural in the first person. Then second person, Madhyam Purush. In singular, tui, tumi, apni. Tui korechili, which is you, had done, which is informal. Tumi korechile, you had done, which is semi-formal. And apni korechilen, which means you had done but informal. Plural is tora, tomra, apnara. Tora korechili, which means you all had done. but it is informal. তোমরা করেছিলে, you all had done, which is semi-formal. Then আপনারা করেছিলেন, which means you all had done, which is formal. Third person, which is pratham purush. In singular, she and তিনি. সে করেছিল, which means he or she had done, which is semi-formal. তিনি করেছিলেন, he or she had done, which is formal. Then in plural, তারা or তারা. তারা করেছিল, which means they had done, but it is semi-formal. Then তারা করেছিলেন, they had done, but it is formal. So, that brings us to the end of this lesson. Stay curious, keep practicing, and soon Bangla will feel even more natural to you. Dhanyabad.